Hey guys, V here, and in today's video I'm going to show you these awesome RGB fans from Abkoncore that, let's be honest, kind of look like the UNI-Fans from Lian Li. Although I think these came out before the UNI-Fans, but don't quote me on that because I'm not positive. Anyways, I hate wasting anyone's time, so with that being said, let's get right into this review. So first, let's talk about the pros and then we'll get to the cons. The first pro for me is also the main reason I bought them, and it's kind of a two-in-one type of pro. Their looks and their price. A 5-pack for $40 is absolutely awesome. These fans look absolutely amazing. The lighting is bright and vivid, and at that price point it's hard to say no. The only weird thing about the design, in my opinion, is the gap between each fan is a bit odd, but I'd say that'll come down to personal preference, so I'll leave that up to you. Now, the second pro is ease of installation. The fact that you can either plug them into your motherboard to control the fan speed and RGB lighting, or you can plug them into the hub that they come with and control everything using the small included remote. I found this really convenient, and if your motherboard doesn't allow any RGBs to be plugged in or just doesn't support RGBs, then just using the controller will allow you to have RGBs in your PC. I do have a full installation video which I will link down in the description and somewhere at the top of this video, so if you're interested in that, feel free to check that out. Now, this next part won't be a pro or a con since noise level is usually up to each individual user, but this is also one of the most important factors when purchasing fans for a lot of people, so I figured I'd include it. The fans are somewhat quiet on their lowest setting while still moving plenty of air in or out of the case, so that's pretty great. On the higher settings, the fans become a little loud in my opinion, and unfortunately they only have 2 built-in speed settings. Now, if you decide to plug them into your motherboard, then you can theoretically use them as normal PWM fans, and the fan speed should go up or down as needed. However, I noticed with my custom fan profile, which is set to be quite slow unless my PC gets hot, then these fans will not go slower than a certain speed, so they'll just stop completely like you see here. Now, if I go ahead and put them back on that, then you see they turn back on. So there's only 2 speed settings on the controller itself. You just click the fan up or down and it goes either slow or fast, and that's about it. You may or may not have better luck with this though, just something to keep in mind as far as the PWM goes and all of that. So here's some sound samples on high and low. I also unplugged all my other fans just to be fair. So here's the low setting sound test. And here's the high. Also, a quick note, these fans do come with the little anti-vibration rubber cushions, which do help a bit with the noise, and it's nice to see on budget fans. So the final pro we'll talk about is, as I mentioned earlier, you can either control them with the controller or you can do the motherboard control. So there's a button on here that says MB Sync. If you click it, it'll go to your motherboard, so then you can control it using your motherboard software or whatever software you have them plugged into. Now, let's talk about this a little bit. There's a lot of different settings. You can do solid colors, you know, green, light blue, white. You can do plenty of colors. They're pretty accurate and they look great. And then you can do custom effects and stuff like that, like this one. There's plenty on here. So you can mess around with the remote, and you know, you can do the LED speed. And there's a lot of settings on here, so it's pretty customizable and it's pretty cool. Now let's go ahead and move on to the cons. I haven't experienced this firsthand, however I thought it would be good to mention in this video. Other reviews said that they had issues with one or more of the fans in their packs, so quality control was a small issue. Again, all my fans were perfect, so keep that in mind. Now, remember earlier I mentioned this kind of weird design choice right here. where there's plenty of space between each fan. As you can see, it's not just a weird it's not just a weird design choice, it kind of ruins the airflow. Now, you shouldn't have any issues with these fans in your case like this, like I have them, or as intake fans or whatever. The only reason I mention this is because if you have a radiator of any sort for an AIO, a water cooler, anything like that, these would not do very good on that, because obviously the radiator has that like mesh and it has to push the air through it, and you know, the air moves through it to cool down the radiator and the water inside. So because of this big gap here, what happens is the air is going in, but there's too much resistance with these, so it'll push the air back out this way, which means you won't get as much cooling and stuff like that. Hopefully this makes sense, but if you don't have a radiator, don't even worry about that. Just something I figured I'd mention. Plus, on top of all of that, you never want your radiator to have fans that only have, you know, manual settings. Now, you can plug them into your motherboard and control them with PWM, so the 2 speed settings wouldn't be an issue. However, those 2 issues together, plus the issue I mentioned earlier with the PWM not going slow enough, which again wouldn't be too much of an issue, but in any case, these are things that you need to keep in mind, and I want to be honest about the whole review, so I'm including those negatives. So, as always, keep this in mind when using any fans in your build. Always keep in mind the airflow and all of that good stuff. Now, the final con, in my opinion, is the fact that these fans only have lights on the front of the fan. So, as you can see, the rear does not have any lights at all. So, in most cases, this will be perfectly fine, because usually you have the front fans right here facing the front of the case, which pulls air into the case, and then usually on standard cases, not this case, standard cases, you'll have 2 or 3 fans up top as exhaust, which is what these are currently, and then 1 fan at the rear usually as exhaust as well. So what that means is the front of the fan will face down at the top and face forward at the back to be exhaust. So it'll pull the air out or push the air out of the case. So you'll need that for ideal airflow, and most cases have that. This case, however, at the bottom, as you can see, these are intake. So they're pulling air in and then pushing it out through the side and through the top. What that means is if I use these at the bottom, the LEDs wouldn't show. So they wouldn't be ideal for that. That's a con, but again, that's not a huge issue if you don't have this type of case and if you don't mind. So anyways, I hope that made sense. These were all the pros and cons in my opinion. I'm sure to each person there might be more pros and cons, but that's all for me. Now, keep in mind that I've only been using these fans for a few weeks now, so I can't say how long they'd last or if they'll start making any weird noises, etc. But in the time that I have used them, I can honestly say I do recommend these if you like the look of these fans. If you're not set on the look of these fans, then I would still be able to recommend these, but keep in mind there are better performing fans out there for a similar price. I think the thing that kind of kills the performance just a little bit is the fact that these gaps don't allow the air to fully be pushed out. So that isn't a huge deal. The performance is still fine. They're still great fans. Still buy them if you like them. But just something to keep in mind. If you don't care for the look, if the look doesn't even bother you at all, there are better fans out there. For example, these are better. Touch Aqua, Bits Power fans from Micro Center. But again, these are great fans for the price and they do look amazing. They perform okay, especially for the money, but there's definitely better performing out there. I will link some fans down in the description to keep in mind just in case you need any. But for now, that's all I have for you in this video. But I have plenty of other videos on the channel and in the works. I unfortunately can't be super consistent with my schedule, but I try my best to upload as much as possible. My main focus is quality and improving, so any feedback is welcome. Now, if this is your first time here, feel free to subscribe if you like content like this. And don't forget to give this video a huge like and feel free to share it and all of that good stuff. I'd really appreciate it. We just hit 4,000 subscribers, and I am genuinely super thankful for that. Even with my inconsistencies and everything, you guys have been following me and just absolutely blowing me out of the water with support. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't thank you enough. I don't know. But with all that being said, I did get a new monitor. If you want more updates about the channel and stuff, I have an Instagram. Links will be down in the description as always. If you want to follow me on Instagram to see, you know, day-to-day life. And I will be doing channel membership soon if you want to support the channel. There's no pressure on that. They offered it to me and I said, okay, you know. So soon that'll be rolling out. Just it'll be kind of cool. You'll have a little badge, you know, kind of showing off how long you've been a supporter and all of that. So if you're interested in something like that, keep that in mind for the future. But if not, you're all good. Thank you guys so very much for all the support, for watching, for everything, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.